I'm McCracken, news editor for Hotel News Now, and I know a lot of people have been saying through the course of this conference that this is their first conference in the last couple of years. I've gone to a few conferences, but this is the first one outside of America that I've had the chance to go to, and I want to say I woke up Sunday morning and had to brush the snow off of my car in Cleveland, and woke up this morning and I got to eat my breakfast on a nice little terrace overlooking the sun rising over the ocean, hearing like tropical bird calls. I will all hail the return of business travel, especially to Latin America. The icing on the cake there too is that I'm not paying for any of it. So well, I'll let my panelists introduce themselves, and as we go down the line and say who you are, also just say, you know, this is a panel about growing in Latin America and the Caribbean. So just give us one thing you guys are doing today that might be new over the last couple of years to drive growth.
Sure. My name is Bojan Kumer, and I'm the Regional Vice President for Development for all of the Marriott brands in the Caribbean and South American region. And if I can think what we're doing different, it's definitely more focused on the conversions. The previous panelists talked about the conversion, and I think it's absolutely true. It's not only Marriott that does that, but all of our competitors as well. And we have seen actually that as a really a good way to open the new hotels within I would even say 12 months. In the past year, we have done I would say approximately 40 PIPs, property improvement plans, and we have converted about 27 hotels. So out of all of the hotels that we have signed in 2021, about 59% were conversions. Also, we've been focusing more on the leisure market and on an all-inclusive. I would say that about 49% were in the all-inclusive segment, and they all, I would actually say majority of them came through the affiliations. That's another thing that we're really focusing on, affiliations or long-term contracts with, for example, in our case, it was Royalton, Blue Diamond, and obviously the M&A. We are actively looking for the M&A opportunities as well.
Mm-hmm.
Hi everyone, I'm Diana Sierra. I work as development manager for Accor. And one of the biggest changes is the mindset on we see profitability on hotels. So we used to think it's just about rooms. Now we think about square meters. We had empty spaces for so many months that we start thinking new ideas on how to increase the revenue or to decrease the loss for the owners. And that's a mindset that we want to keep in the future for the new investors that come to the chain.
Mm-hmm.
Hi everyone, I'm Salo, Smaletz. I'm head of development for Latin America for IAG, Intercontinental Hotels and Resorts. I think a lot of things changed, and we changed the way we did or started doing business. But mainly, I think we created and launched brands that are more flexible in terms of standards and that can adapt to the reality with costs raising. I think we came up with solutions that allow for sustainable growth with more flexible standards.
Mm-hmm. So, Salo, let's stay with you for just a minute. I'm just wondering, from your perspective, how is developing a hotel different today than it was prior to the pandemic? Has the environment changed at all, or is it essentially the same?
I think it's very different, and I'm not sure if it will be forever. I think that it's going to come back to normalcy, and at one point we will develop in the same way that we used to develop, but there are things that we have to take into consideration that affected the development. I think today it became more expensive to develop because of the costs rising, because of the chain supply factor, because of delays in getting materials, which in turn delays the opening date, and that means empty rooms for a longer space, so for a longer time. So all of these have affected and has created some type of uncertainty. But I don't think it's forever. I think it's, we are all waking up from this nightmare, and I think that we understand that everything is cyclical. We're not foreseeing another pandemic, but we know that things are going to come back to normal eventually.
Yeah. They need to put wood on the stage so I can knock on wood when you say, I hope there's not another pandemic in the near future. So anybody can jump in on this?
No, I was just going to say that I absolutely agree with Salo, and I also think that part of that delay and the issues with the supply chains and the rising costs are actually offset these days with the higher ADRs. At least in the resort markets we have experienced in the southern Florida or obviously all over the Caribbean and even the resorts on the northern coast of Colombia, the really high ADRs. Mm-hmm. So that really offsets all of that. However, I also think that the issue where we're going to actually experience, we are experiencing a little bit, but what is coming is the macroeconomical issues, right? We know the inflation is going up, right? What is going to be the next? The interest rates are going to go up, so the financing is going to be more costly. I think all of that is what we're going to experience within the next, I would say, 6 to 12 months.
Mm-hmm. So for Accor, where would you describe the biggest development opportunities right now in terms of geography, segments? Like where would you really like to grow?
For us, will be lifestyle. That's our biggest focus. That's where you can integrate this leisure growing market, where you can provide local experiences to the people living in the cities that we used to forget about these people as hoteliers. So for lifestyle, this is the biggest segment we are pushing in. And in cities, it really depends. It really depends on the city, on how sexy the city is, what experiences you can provide. And in South America, we have plenty of places to develop these kind of brands.
Mm-hmm. Anybody else want to jump in on that?
I think for us, we found out that all-inclusive and resorts for us is the future. We have seen an increase in demand during the pandemic. We are looking into opportunities, and we think that that's where growth is going to come for us and for other brands as well. But that's and not only in the massive sense of all-inclusive, but also in luxury and upscale all-inclusive products.
Yeah. Absolutely agree with Salo on the all-inclusive, the resort markets. Again, conversions, right? For us, we launched the all-inclusive in 2019. One of the big announcements was obviously the Elegant hotels in Barbados. We have organically grown in few other markets in Mexico and the Caribbean. And today, 2.5 years later, we have 30 open hotels and then another, I would say 17 or 18 in the pipeline.
Yeah. I'll go a little bit off script with this question, but just to follow up on that, because I mean, all-inclusive is really a segment that's completely transformed in just a few short years. I mean, what's the trajectory there for you? I mean, how much runway is there to grow in that space? Like, is it going to be driven by, the major international brands that have been kind of carving out their niche there? Like, how do you guys foresee that segment evolving?
I mean, obviously for us, the two biggest markets are Mexico and the Caribbean and, certain parts of the northern coast of Colombia. And obviously, we have recently also signed one all-inclusive in Brazil. This is, again, the market that, we haven't really explored that much, but it's definitely on our radar screen. I don't really think that it's just, for the big players. If you go and travel on some of these smaller Caribbean islands, you see a bunch of these small independent hotels that are running on the all-inclusive. They have very high rates. The occupancy is in 90s, but again, there are between 50 and 100 rooms. This is something that, at least for us, we are looking at it, but we currently don't think it's a right approach. Again, we do have an Elegant hotels, but this was a bunch of hotels that we purchased at the same time, right? 7 hotels. We're really looking at the sweet spots of 250 rooms plus for the all-inclusive. And again, the markets are growing. Obviously, something that I just mentioned, Brazil, it's something to look for, and the northern coast of Colombia, which we do have a couple of projects in the pipeline already.
Mm-hmm. Now, for a company like Marriott, is the primary benefit of growing that all-inclusive portfolio having those properties themselves, or is it you can book it on Bonvoy now, like the ecosystem?
What is the question?
I mean, for you, is the benefit of growing in that segment, is it kind of a loyalty play to say, you know, this is, you can earn, when business travel comes back, you can earn and then burn down in Jamaica?
I mean, it's both, obviously. Marriott has traditionally been, you know, very corporate. If you take a look at, you know, 20 years ago, we had hotels all over the major cities in the U.S. and, you know, major international cities, but we haven't had that many resorts, right? So there was always a complaint from our Bonvoy members that, you know, they would earn all of these points and, you know, didn't have places to redeem the points. Now with the all-inclusive, you know, we've created a special, you know, category with that, you know, redemption, the highest category to redeem those points. And you know, we are actually receiving a great feedback from the Bonvoy members on the redemption, right? Same thing is, you know, earning the points as well. Again, majority of the points that, you know, are earned are business travelers, and then when you go to the Caribbean or Central America or, you know, the resort markets within the South America, you see more redemptions.
Okay. So when you're all out on the road, you know, selling, because essentially development is sales, correct? Do you get a sense from investors that the appetite for investing in the hotel industry in Latin America, Caribbean is as high as it would have been prior to the pandemic? And is there kind of a baked-in level of risk expectation that you didn't have to deal with before all of this?
Well, I can say that in Latin America, like in South America, basically the investors are within the countries where they know very good. So they are aware of the risk of each of the countries. So that's a plus at this point of time, I think. And if you think about the appetite on future development, of course, this is lower than previous the pandemic, but it's still going on. I mean, of course, our focus is conversions, but we're still seeing greenfield projects, people with the desire to have hotels, but with something different. Like they don't want to have the same mindset that before, but they want to have very nice hotels with great designs, with great experiences, and that's the appetite we are seeing from our investors.
I agree with Diana. I think that, I mean, it's going to come back, and I think we're still not there, and we're not expecting to be there as fast as now, but yes, we see that the appetite is increasing. We're getting more calls. We're getting more interest. We're seeing other markets recuperating, and we know that this is going to come and be the same in Latin America.
Yeah, I mean, for us, obviously, the appetite, we see it in the leisure market, especially in the Caribbean and Mexico, but, you know, there is still a lagging and a lag for the, you know, South American markets. We do actually push hard in, you know, certain markets within the South America, but, for example, Guyana, we signed 3 contracts last year, and, you know, we already have a Marriott that is open there, is doing phenomenal. So, but again, you know, it is just a one small country, right? We can't, you know, put all of the eggs in the same basket. You know, I think for the foreseeable future, we'll probably stay away from the Guyana. But again, you know, there's always a market within, you know, the region that, you know, we would actually put our focus. And last year was Guyana, obviously. This year is going to be something else.
So I'm curious from all your perspectives, and I'm sure, you know, as development folks, you think any time's a good time to build a hotel. But right now, is it too late to build a hotel to take advantage of this next cycle that we're hopefully at the very beginning of, or are you on the road telling people, get a shovel in the ground now?
I don't think it's late at all. I think, I mean, there's always opportunities. It's just a matter of finding the right market, and the right product, the right brand that could suit that market and take advantage of this new cycle, if you will.
I agree, it's not too late. It's always a good time to open a hotel, so invest.
So do cycle dynamics come up at all when you talk to investors about?
Sorry?
Do the dynamics of the hotel cycle come up when you talk to investors about what, you know, we're at the beginning of this big ramp? I mean, hopefully, is there a sense out there that if you're going to invest in the hotel industry, you might as well get in now?
I mean, like, if I understand it properly, like, we have investors, for example, that stopped the decisions as soon as the pandemic started.
Yeah.
And it's understandable, okay? But now they regret to have delayed the decisions because in some special cities in Latin America, the peak has come faster than expected. So now they are regretting not making the investments 2 years or 1 year and a half ago. So that's what we have seen, what I have seen.
Okay. So when someone's hesitant now, do you pull out that story and say, don't regret 2 years from now?
Yeah, no, definitely. We are at the beginning of the cycle, and the owners often come with the questions and ask us, what do we think, how long the cycle is going to last? I mean, nobody has a crystal ball. We know that that last cycle was probably one of the longest cycles. That we were, it lasted till 2020, early 2020, after the global financial crisis. But again, I think this new cycle, we're going to see a lot of uncertainties. We obviously started with the pandemic. Now we see, we had already 3 major variants with the virus, right? Now we're talking about the inflation, and we're talking about the interest rates. Obviously, everybody's monitoring the situation in Eastern Europe, in Ukraine, which again causes a lot of uncertainty because we know, for example, markets such as Dominican Republic and a few others in the Caribbean, they depended in the low season on the Russian and Ukrainian travelers. Those are travelers that pay a little bit less, but they fill those rooms.
And to that point, I mean, this is obviously a very unique time to be in an international business, and you guys are all so quintessentially international. I mean, is it obviously a lot of the scary stuff is happening on the other side of the world, very far away from us, but is the climate at all changed by everything that's going on right now, or is it too hard to tell with all the noise from the pandemic winding down?
Well, I think it's, the noise is out there. The climate, I think, could be actually favorable for our region because when you think about the countries such as Brazil, Peru, Chile, they have a lot of natural resources. Sanctions against Russia actually, brought completely new light on our region because most of the Western European countries, together with the US, are now looking for those resources, and they're trying to replace dependence, on the Russian oil and gas. They're looking at, for example, I mentioned Guyana. We all know what's going on in Guyana. Brazil is, quite an attractive market as well. So I think, that's going to create new opportunities in our part of the world.
What about you?
I agree with you. Like, I feel it's still feeling too far away from us, that crisis. And we are living our little small problems in all the countries in the region. So for now, it doesn't feel that close. We don't feel it like coming right now, but we don't know how would this evolve.
Okay.
Yeah, I agree with both Bojan and Diana. It's a situation that hasn't hit us directly, but we are cautious. I think we all learned during the past 2 years that we need to be cautious and analyze things and put things in perspective. And I think the climate is that right now. Okay, let's think and let's not take decisions so quickly. That's the feeling.
Okay. Changing tack just a little bit, but I'm wondering. I know obviously the early days of this recovery have been so leisure-driven. Is the development demand you guys are seeing right now at this moment match that? Is it mostly leisure-driven resort markets, or is there some more city center or business-driven hotel demand you guys are seeing too?
For us, it's mostly leisure. I would say that 70-75% it's actually leisure. But again, we're also focusing on the conversions in the urban destinations. So they are contracts, from other hotel chains that are expiring. Obviously, the owners are looking for some other opportunities, or the independent hotels. Especially this pandemic left a big impact on the individual hotel owners, owners that own just 1 or 2 hotels, and they're looking for the affiliations with the big hotel chains to actually lower that cost.
Salo, you want to jump in there?
Yeah, I think that leisure is the focus right now, and that's what we are working hard on. But we are welcoming any opportunity, and if it's a city hotel or if it's a corporate hotel or business-driven hotel. There are opportunities and there will be opportunities for that, but with a focus on leisure.
Okay. We're running out of time, but one last quick lightning round question. So one sentence answer each. I just want to hear from each of you, when we meet again next year, how will things be?
Uy, no, say it again because I didn't get it, please.
When we're here sitting in these seats next year, what will the industry be like? One sentence.
Growth.
That's one word. That's better than a sentence.
I think things are going to be much better. They are already getting better. We will see more hotels and we will see people breathing with more hope and certain of what they are doing and how they are investing.
All right, final word.
I think we'll still be focusing on the conversions, and I definitely see that there is going to be more affiliations and more brand consolidation.
All right, well, join me in thanking my wonderful panel.
Thank you.
Thank you.